Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Sarasvati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamai Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Paramananda Madhavam. Okay, so you all wrote your 10 vibhutis. I hope so. We'll talk about it after class, so keep that with you for now. Let us chant the shloka we did last time. I'm on verse number 25. Let's chant that. Maharshinam Bhruguraham Kiramasmyekam Aksharam Yajnanam Japayajñosmi Sthabaranam Himalayaha. So we are here going through the Vibhootis of Bhagwan, a very, very beautiful way to keep thinking and dwelling on Bhagwan in everything that we see. Of all the Maharishis, he says he's Bhrigu, and we know Bhrigu is the one who dared to inquire. Bhrigu is the one also in Taittiriya Upanishad who did a lot of mananam and a lot of contemplation to find out the truth. So this is being glorified as a vibhuti, the one who keeps on reflecting and contemplating to understand what this reality is. Many of us have the ability to listen, but very few can think on their own, can examine, can systematize, can explore, can sit quietly on their own. This, Bhagwan says, being able to do this is my vibhuti. Then he says, of all of the sounds, the syllables, I am that Om, Ekam Aksharam. I am that Om. Because Om, we said, is very, very closely connected to Turiya or the Atman. Just as the Atman has 4 padas, 4 quarters, waking, dream, deep sleep, and that pure consciousness which pervades all 3 states, Om also has 4 quarters. The letter A, U, Ma, and then the silence after. And the silence pervades all 3 letters. So it's very, very similar, Om and Atman. And therefore, everything is really encased in Om. It's that one akshara that where we can keep thinking about, and all the great truths will be revealed to us. Then Bhagwan also said, of all the yajnas, I am japa. I am japa because it's the simplest yajna. We don't need to buy anything. We don't need to go anywhere. No list, nothing. All we have to do is sit down and chant the divine name. We don't even need other people. In many yajnas, we need to call a purohit, a pandit. We need to call so many people to come. We need to prepare the supplies. We need to clean the home. We need to do all of these things. Then only that yajna can happen. But with japa, all it requires is to chant the name of Bhagwan. Nothing more. Then he says, Sthavaranam Himalaya, among the immovables. I am that Himalaya. So some people will ask, if I can't understand the meaning of Om, then I can't do japa. What should I do? Go to a place that's like the Himalayas, a place that's so calm, pristine, serene, that all of a sudden just makes us turn inward. That is also the Vibhooti of Bhagwan. So when we go into nature, when we sit in our national parks, or even in any park, and we see the vastness of everything, we remember Bhagwan. This is a Vibhooti of Bhagwan. So today now we're going to start with verse number 26. Asvatthah sarva vrikshanam
Asvatthah sarvavrikshanam
devarshinam cha naradaha
devarshinam cha Naradaha
gandharvanam chitraratha
gandharvanam Chitraratha
siddhanam kapilo munihi
siddhanam Kapilo Munihi
Ashvatthah sarva vrikshanam devarshinam cha naradaha gandharvanam chitraratha siddhanam kapilo munihi. So here now more examples to convey Bhagavan's Vibhooti. Sarva vrikshanam, of all the trees, Bhagavan says, I'm the Ashvatthah. I'm the pipal tree. Devarshinam, of all the Devarishis, I am Narada. Gandharvanam, of all the Gandharvas, these are the celestial musicians. Of all of them, I am Chitraratha. Chitraratha was the teacher of Arjuna. Siddhanam, and amongst the sidhhas or perfected ones, Kapilo Munihi, I am Kapil Muni. So let us take a look at this for a moment. This Asvatthah, it comes in Bhagavad Gita. We'll see it in chapter 15. It also comes in Kathopanishad. Asvatthah means Shwaha na tishtati, meaning it does not stay tomorrow. That which does not stay tomorrow is called Asvatthah. So Asvatthah tree or the pipal tree is a symbolism of samsara. It's a symbolism of samsara. And this Asvatthah tree is unique because urdhva moolaha, the roots are up. Avak shakaha, and the branches are below. So it is this huge, vast tree wherein the roots are up and the branches are all below. And this tree resembles samsara because samsara is so vast, it's so big. And what we have to do in samsara is come to the moola, to the root. Samsara is this world of names and forms. And when we get engrossed in it, we keep going around and around and around and around. The purpose of samsara is to come to the root. But how do we do that? So here in Kathopanishad, the mantra says, Urdhva Mulo Vakshakaha. The roots are above, the branches are below. Esho Ashvatthah. This is the Ashvatthah tree. Sanatanaha. It's eternal in the sense that it doesn't go away on its own. Tad eva shukram tad brahma. By understanding its root. Tad here means its root, its moola. Understanding its pure root, which is Brahma, tad eva amritam uchyate. That is immortality. So this Ashvatthah tree tells us to think about samsara and come to its root. Now, how do we think about samsara to come to its root? So that is also given in Kathopanishad. It says, recognize the defects of samsara. Hmm? Recognize the defects of samsara, not to get everybody depressed, but to get everybody awakened. Huh? This is not saying, get really sad about how life is, but this is saying, look through life with a different lens and understand all the limitations of it, so that mumukshutvam, that burning desire to come out of it, will be kindled deeply. So what are these defects in this tree of samsara? The first defect, janma, jara, marana, ashokadi, aneka, janma, marana, shokadi, aneka, anarthatmakaha. It says, aneka, anarthatmakaha, means there are so many, many things starting from birth. Starting from birth, if we look at birth, the shoka, the sorrow in birth is that we come to this world crying. We come to this world crying, and when we're babies, nobody understands us. Nobody knows in the beginning whether we're hungry, whether we're dirty, whether we want to sleep, whether it's too noisy. Nobody understands us. So at such a young age, there is that shoka. There's that sadness of not being understood. Then as a youth, there is the sadness of always wanting to be validated, always wanting to be accepted by the peers, always wanting to be liked. And of course, when we go to old age, jara, there's that sadness or sorrow of dependence. We tend to depend on other people because we can't do things on our own physically. We can't physically do things on our own, and mentally also our mental stamina is not there anymore. So it's that sorrow of I have to depend on someone, or I need someone to help me with this, that feeling of helplessness. And he says marana. Marana means death. Death is also sadness, losing someone. So the first thing about samsara is there's constant sorrow happening every moment. Moment to moment to moment, there is sorrow. And if there is joy, there's going to be sorrow that comes. There's going to be sorrow that comes, because after joy, people are sad that now that joy has gone, so the sorrow will come. So moment to moment, there's a feeling of sorrow. Then he says, pratikshanam anyatha swabhava. Pratikshanam anyatha swabhava. Every moment, things are changing. The swabhava, the nature of things, are appearing differently. Just, last week we were all flying. Usually you think you get into an airplane and you take off and everything is fine. But last week and, previous weeks, we've heard stories of people getting into the airplane, and even the refreshments are served, their seatbelts are buckled, everything is fine, and then they have to deplane and the flight is cancelled. So every moment you don't know what's happening. Something looks like it's okay, and then you get there and then it's something else. Sometimes people we know, people we've interacted with, they're of one swabhava, but all of a sudden they changed. Okay, are you this person, or are you the person I married, or are you my friend? Who are you? I don't know you anymore. Anyatha swabhava, the swabhava just changes, just like that. We don't even know what happened. So this is happening in our environment, in our relationships, in our things. We don't know. Something we would have kept in the fridge looked good. The next day, anyatha swabhava, it doesn't look that good anymore. Then he says, Maya marichyudaka gandharva nagaradivat drishta nashta swarupatvat. It is drishta nashta swabhava, means as you see, it is getting destroyed. So like as we see our youth, moment to moment, we are aging, actually. As we see things outside, moment to moment, leaves are falling, right? Moment to moment, things are getting destroyed. Moment to moment, things are falling apart. It's not that things are going to stay intact all the time. This is just the nature of it. And then he says, Kadali stambhavat nisaraha. This means that, like the banana leaves, you go on opening and opening and opening and opening it, but when you open it fully, there's nothing there. So in life also, we go on pursuing things. We go on pursuing wealth. We go on pursuing power, pursuing relationships, career. We go on pursuing so many things. And we open up layers and layers and layers and get deeper and deeper and deeper. And then finally we open it and there's nothing there. There's no fulfillment. There's no joy there. There's nothing that's making us whole. It's empty. And he says, Aneka shata pakhanda buddhi vikalpaspadaha. There are so many different notions of what's true. There's a whole confusion. So many people are trying to take us in different ways. Somebody wants to give us advice to do this. Somebody else wants to give us advice to do that. Everybody's pulling us in different directions. Where do we go? So he says, this is samsara. This is samsara. If we just take a moment to recognize these defects in the world and just ask ourselves, really, do we want to come back into this? Really, do we want to go through this whole thing again? I told you all, whenever I call 800 number, my vairagya goes very high. I never want to come back again. Because who would want to sit on the phone to listen to all of that is enough to give vairagya. So for all of us, we have to just really think about this, right? We haven't thought about it deeply. That's why we're not seeking deeply. But if we think, we will really seek. We will really seek. So this Asvatthah tree tells us that of all the trees, Bhagwan is Asvatthah. He's a tree of samsara. Because everything is Bhagwan, but he's a tree of samsara also because this samsara reminds us to come to the moola, to the root. So everything that has come into our lives is a reminder to go seek the root cause. Everything is a reminder. Whether it is positive or negative, it's a reminder. And that reminder is Bhagwan. Then he says, Devarishinam cha Narada. Of all the Devarishis, I am Narada. Why Narada? What's so special? Isn't he the one that's always causing trouble? Well, he's causing trouble for a very good reason. As we saw before, he was cursed by Brahmaji that he will never stay in one place. So the beauty of Narada is he goes from loka to loka, from people to people, to bring this knowledge. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is an episode where Naraji meets Bhakti. And Bhakti is personified as this very young woman, and she has two sons, and her two sons are Jnana and Vairagya. Bhakti is devotion, Jnana is knowledge, Vairagya, dispassion. So this Bhakti, this young lady, she has two old sons, Jnana and Vairagya, and they're almost lifeless. And she tells Narada, I need to restore my sons. They're almost lifeless. I want them to be young again. So Narada goes to the Sanat Kumaras and says, look, I need to help devotion. I need to help devotion, the mother of devotion. I need to help this passion and knowledge rise again. What will I do? And the Sanat Kumara said, if you want Jnana and Vairagya to rise again, then you must do Srimad Bhagavatam. Because that which makes knowledge and dispassion arise is none other than devotion. And so Naraji arranged that. And when he arranged that, Jnana and Vairagya were restored to their life. So this is Narada. And this is the same Narada who gave advice to Vedavyasaji. When Vedavyasaji, now imagine Vedavyasaji, how great he is. Huh? He compiled the Vedas. He wrote the Brahma Sutras. He wrote the Mahabharata, and in which the Bhagavad Gita was composed. And by this time, he had written 17 Puranas. And he sat there, and when he met Naraji, he said, I feel empty. I feel like I'm lacking something. And this is where we have to admire Vedavyasji. We who have done nothing, we feel like we're lacking nothing. We have everything. We're good with everything. Vedavyasji has done so much. And he says, I'm lacking something. And Narad Rishi says, I know what you are lacking. You are lacking devotion. It is time that you write a scripture that is mainly based in devotion. You have touched upon jnana. You've touched upon karma. Now fully write on bhakti and write on the life of Shri Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam. And when Narad Rishi gave this advice to Vedavyasaji, he wrote Bhagavatam, and he was also restored to life. Narad is the one who restores people to life. He is also, of course, the one who restored Ratnakar. I'm sure you all know that story of that dacoit Ratnakar. And, he was very, very, he would harm people. He would be very brutal to people. He would steal from them. And when he met Naraji, Naraji told him to chant the name of Rama. And that Ratnakar became Valmiki Rishi. He chanted the name of Rama even backward, Mara, 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 and he became Valmiki Rishi. This is the same Narada who gave advice to Dhruva. When the young boy Dhruva was told not to sit in his father's lap because he was not born from his stepmother, Dhruva was made to go to the forest and perform austerity. And the one who advised him was Narad Rishi. And it is also Narad Rishi, the one who, when Prahlad's mother was carrying baby Prahlad in her stomach, and she was, the kingdom was taken over and so much havoc was there and she needed a safe space to stay, it was Naraji who gave her a safe space to stay. And Naraji is the one who gave teachings to Prahlad in the womb itself. So of all the rishis, Bhagwan says, I am Naraji, the one who restores people to life. So when we find someone, who restores us to life, maybe we're feeling down, maybe we're feeling out, and we just don't know what to do, then that is a Vibhooti, that person who restores us back to life, who puts us back on the path, that's also a Vibhooti. So, Devarshinam cha Narada. Then he says, Gantharvanam Chitraratha. Now, of all the celestial musicians, I am Chitraratha. As I mentioned, this is the teacher of Arjuna. Now, you see here, there's something very, very beautiful about music. So, this Chitraratha, yes, is a name. But in our lives, what is Chitraratha? Right? What is Chitraratha? Chitraratha is that kind of musician who can lose themselves in the music. There are some musicians who play for show. It's quite obvious. It's quite obvious they play for show. They come, they expect so many things, and they order things in a certain way, and they come with that thing of, yeah, this is who I am now. But there are some musicians, the minute they touch the instrument, they pray to it, they bow down to it, and they hold it like it's a baby, and they close their eyes. You feel like that's a different kind of musician. That musician is not there to show. That musician is there to worship. So Chitraratha is that musician that's there to worship, not there to show. And also that musician who is very aware and present. I just heard this very nice story. Actually, it's about a jazz musician. His name is Miles Davis. This is years ago, and he was in a band. And I think in his band there was this person called Herbie Hancock. And so Miles Davis was playing the trumpet, and this Herbie Hancock, he was playing the keyboard. And at one point, they were doing a song. The whole band was there. Everything was, they were performing a song, and everything was going really, really well. Everything was great. The rhythm was there. Everybody was feeling ecstatic in music. And this Herbie Hancock, the keyboard player, he played a wrong chord. And when he played a wrong chord, he went like this because he made a mistake, right? So now everybody's waiting because the next part was of Miles Davis. Everyone was waiting. What will he do? Will he tell him to repeat again? Will he pretend that nothing happened? Will he give him such a bad look, like, you're in a concert, how could you do this? He played Miles Davis, he played the trumpet to make that wrong note sound right. He played the trumpet in such a way that off chord sounded like it was part of something so magical. And he was able to just do that in the moment. In the moment, he was just able to do that. So that is something very divine when a musician is also present, that they're able to just flow with anything that comes their way. This is called Chitraratha. And we might think that this is only for musicians, but if you think deeply about it, the whole world is rhythm, isn't it? Like there's a rhythm in the air, there's a rhythm in water, there's a rhythm even when people walk. There's actually a rhythm in everything. There's a rhythm in everything. Mm-hmm. So gantharvanam chitraratha. Then he says sidhanam kapilo muni. Among the perfected ones, I'm Kapil Muni. So who is Kapil Muni? Kapil Muni is somebody in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the beauty about Kapil Muni is when he was born, he was already born with such wonderful qualities of Aishwarya, glory, of jnana, knowledge, of vairagya, dispassion. He was born with these wonderful qualities that when Kapil Muni was born, he gave Upadesha to his mother. He's the one who gave the teaching to his mother because at such a young age, he knew the truth. And he is the one who wrote Kapil Gita, the very famous Gita, very beautiful also. And what Bhagwan here is trying to say that there are many perfected ones. There are many perfected ones, who are much older. Usually the sidhhas, they become perfected as they age, because we've gone through life, matured, understood everything, examined everything, and one is able to slowly detach and become perfected. But when a young one like Kapil Muni, very young people become perfected at such a young age. Even like Adi Shankaracharya ji, that's truly a Vibhooti. I thought, how have they understood at such a young age? What we fail to even understand now at this age. We're still struggling to understand now at this age, but at a young age, wow, they've understood. So that itself is a vibhuti. Sometimes we come across children who know these things, who just have that notion of it. And we are in awe at how wonderful they are. Hmm? So Siddhanam Kapilo Muni. Now, next verse, we will go to verse number 27. Uchai Shravasamashvanam
उच्चैस्रवसमश्वानां
Vidhi Mamamritodbhavam
विद्धि माममृतो भवम्
Airavatam Gajendraणाम्
ऐरावतं गजेन्द्राणां
Naraणाम् च Naradhipam
नराणां च नराधिपम्
Uchai Vidhi Mamamritodbhavam Airavatam Gajendranam Naranam cha Naradhipam. Uchai is Ashvanam. Ashvanam, among the horses, I am Uchai this divine horse. Vidhi, Mam, know me to be that. Amritodbhavam, I am born of Amrita. Airavatam Gajendranam. Gajendranam, amongst the elephants. I am Airavata. Naranam, among all beings, Naradhipam, I am the king, queen, I am the ruler. So he says here, in the churning of the milky ocean, it's a very beautiful and symbolic analogy that we have there. So there was the devas and the asuras, they were churning the milky ocean to get the pot of amrita. Amrita here means nectar. And the devatas, meaning the good forces, the asuras, the negative forces, they were churning the milky ocean. And when they were churning the milky ocean, they were churning it with Vasuki. And Vasuki's name will also come soon, and we'll talk about Vasuki then. But as they were churning, the first thing that came out was poison. Hala, this poison. And this poison came out and nobody else would drink it. So Bhagwan Shiva drank that poison. That's why he's called Nilakanta, right? The one with the blue neck. And Bhagwan Shiva is the one that can take negativity, any amount of negativity he can take in, but it never affects him. He never swallows it, nor does he spit it out on other people. So that's something very beautiful to be said about Bhagwan Shiva. Bhagwan Shiva can take any negativity, any amount, but he will never be affected by it. So this poison came out, and after this poison came out, many other things came out. One of them was this Uchai-shrava. Uchai-shravas is this beautiful, beautiful horse, very wonderful horse, like glistening horse that came out. And then Airavata, a wonderful elephant, the king of elephants. This became Indra's elephant. That also came out. So all these wonderful, wonderful things came out. Lakshmi Devi also came out. We saw that also last time. Lakshmi Devi came out. And only at the end, Amrita, that nectar came out. That nectar. Now, what is the symbolism of this? The symbolism of this is that Bhagwan is saying that of all the horses, I am that glistening golden horse, that's really beautiful. And I am that glistening elephant, which is really beautiful. But here he's really trying to draw our attention to this churning of the milky ocean. The churning of the Milky Ocean is none other than meditation. It's a process of meditation where the Milky Ocean is the mind. And in the mind, in meditation, we're really trying to churn all of our thoughts. Our good thoughts, our negative thoughts, we're trying to churn them. And we will notice many times when we sit down to make our minds quiet, what's the first thing that comes out? Negative thoughts. Negativity comes out. Why? Because a lot of us have negativity stored in our unconscious. That's why sickness comes from mental sickness. So physical sickness comes from mental sickness. What happens actually very beautifully in meditation is that when there are toxic emotions or feelings that are kind of buried deep within us, that are causing physical pain, in meditation they rise up. They're able to rise up because there's no more noise clouding them and burying them in. There's no more noise doing that. There's absolute silence. Because there's absolute silence, there's a space created. Because silence always creates space. So there's a space created when we meditate. In our physical body also, there's a space created. And when that space is created, that negativity can rise up. It can rise up. And when it rises up, don't shy away from it. I think we also talked about this in our meditation in life class. This is kashaya. When that negativity rises up, don't shy away from it. Just acknowledge that, gosh, these things which are buried underneath, now they're able to come out, and it's okay. It's a purification. It's a cleansing. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. And it has to come out. Because if it doesn't come out, then we're not going to be able to really go deeper into meditation. So this will happen. If it hasn't happened, it will happen. If it has happened, now you know why. And sometimes it takes longer for us to cleanse ourselves. So if it's coming, just accept it and know what it is. Know that it is this kashaya. And let ourselves be cleansed from it. After this cleansing happens, right, then certain siddhis may come, certain kinds of peaceful moments, or sometimes even bright lights, or sometimes just immense silence may even come. That is symbolic of the Gajendra, this Airavata and Uchayashravas. It is symbolic of the horse and the elephant. These are siddhis. This is not the self. This is not the self. These are just things that come because now the mind is able to turn within. Now that the toxics are eliminated, the mind is able to dwell upon subtle things. Uchayashravas, it's able to dwell on silence, some light, some peace. It's able to dwell on that. But that's still not it. Also, these things, remember, the devatas and asuras kept churning and churning and churning. When all of these go away, this peace, this silence, whatever lights, whatever sounds we see, colors, but all of it goes away. And nothing else remains but just the self, as a witness self, who is the witness of even that silence. That is the king. That's where we have to go. That's where we have to go. Those siddhis, or those silent moments, they're called rasa svada. They're also an obstruction. They're also an obstruction. But once those go, then nectar comes. And that nectar is nothing but Atman. It's nothing but Atman. Right? So this verse is trying to tell us that. Remember what this churning is like. Remember that process of meditation. and keep going deep, deep, and deep until only the self remains. There's no more thinking of, I'm experiencing this bliss, or, oh, wow, this is so beautiful. Oh, wow, this is so quiet. Go beyond that. As long as there is the sound of I or that ego, we haven't gotten there yet. It's that silence beyond even that silence. So he says, Airavatam Gajendrana. Go past all of this. Naranam Chanaradipam. Of all beings, I am the king. Now, this can mean king in one sense can be Atman, because Atman is the supreme sovereign ruler of everything, right? The only sovereign, the only independent being in this whole world is Atman. King or queen or the ruler, when we think of somebody who's ruling, we think they have so much power, they're independent, they have free will, they can make decisions. But actually, the one that's truly, truly sovereign, free, boundless, limitless, that's only the Atman. That's only the Atman. So this can mean Atman. This can also mean a ruler of all the people. You know, when we make choices, you and I, right? When we make choices, we might affect ourselves, of course, and we might affect our near and dear ones and our family. But if you have a ruler of a country and they make a decision, that decision has the power to affect the whole world. Not just even their country, but the whole world, right? That's how much power a king or a queen, a president or a prime minister has. That anything that they say, anything that they do has the ability to impact so much. And that's why that's Bhagavan's Vibhooti. That ability to impact. So there are many bad kings and queens and bad rulers, but there are also many, many good rulers. And one person always comes to mind to me is Nelson Mandela, right? The way he just, after being in prison for 27 years, he came out and he united his country, right? He had that power, that ability to create such a profound impact in his people. When we see that kind of purity, that kind of impact, that's also a Vibhooti. It's also a Vibhooti. I also think about Devi Ahilyabai Holkar. Yeah, she was a great Maratha queen. And in her rule, she had this ability, this generosity to rebuild temples in Bharat, in all corners of Bharat. When you think of somebody like that, that's a Vibhooti. It's a real Vibhooti. So of all beings, Bhagwan says, I am that kind of ruler and that kind of ability to make such a profound impact in everyone's lives. And forever, you know, these deep impacts that some of them made are forever. Devi Ahilyabai, she rebuilt places in Ayodhya. She rebuilt Somnath. She rebuilt Kashi. She rebuilt places in the Chardham Yatra. Until today, 300 years after her birth, still impacts us. That's a Vibhooti. Continuing now, verse number 28. Ayudhanamaham vajram.
Ayudhanamaham vajram.
धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक्
धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक्
प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः
प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः
सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः
सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः
आयुधानामहं वज्रं धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक् प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः. He says, Ayudhanam. Amongst the weapons, Aham Vajram. I am the thunderbolt of Indra. Dhenuna. Of all the cows, Asmi, I am Kamadhuk. I am the wish fulfilling cow. Prajanaschasmi. Amongst the beings, I am Kandarpa. I am Kamadeva. So amongst the Prajana, the beings, I am Kamadeva. The progenitors, I am Kamadeva. Sarpanam, amongst the serpents, Asmi Vasuki. I am Vasuki. So he says here, amongst the weapons, I am Vajra. Now, see, Hinduism is not against weapons, because weapons can be used for defense. Hinduism is against weapons for offense, but not against weapons for defense. Because if you notice, most of our forms of gods and goddesses have weapons. Durga has 10, right? Sri Rama has a bow and arrow. Narayana has so many weapons, right? So Hinduism is not against weapons. But Bhagwan says also, amongst the weapons, see my Vibhooti, I'm the Vajra. So what is he trying to say here? See, first, this Vajra here means thunderbolt. Now, this thunderbolt, there was, of course, a battle again between the Devatas and Asuras, right? And they needed a weapon to defeat the Asuras, to defeat the demons. And so Brahmaji said, if you need a weapon to defeat the Asuras, you have to get the bones of the Dichi Rishi and make a weapon out of that. So imagine the Devatas, they go to the Dichi Rishi and they say, the Dichi Rishi, we need your bones. He's alive, he's there. We need your bones because we have to make a weapon. Like it's really from his ribs. And he said, okay, fine, you can take it. And what he did was he sat down in meditation and he, through the power of yoga, his jiva exited from the body through the power of yoga, through his brahmarandra. His jiva exited from his body and his body became lifeless. And then they took the bones of his body and they made the weapon. And so the first thing about this weapon is it is made from purity. It's not made from some mad scientist who's power hungry. It's not made by somebody who has this thing that I want to rule the world and cause all chaos and everything and turn people against each other. It's made from purity. The second thing about that weapon is it was made for a purpose. It's because the Devatas needed to defend themselves against the Asuras. Right? It's not that they want to fight. They don't want to fight. Who wants to fight? It's exhausting. They don't want to fight, but they have to defend themselves. So they take this Vajra for defense. The third thing about it is the Vajra didn't just go into anybody's hands, right? We may have a pure weapon. We may have this weapon for self-defense, but if that weapon goes into the wrong hands, that's it. So this Vajra was given to Indra, the king of the Devatas, and said, you hold it. You hold it and you use it to defend goodness. You use it to defend dharma. So this is the right kind of weapon to have. So even the science of weapons is there in Bhagavad Gita. It's actually very, very beautiful when you think about it. Everything is there in the Bhagavad Gita, if we really see it with that kind of divine eye. So he says, I am that Vajra. I am that which will uphold, which will establish justice, which will defend the good always, always, because sometimes strength is needed for strength. When so many people are coming at you with strength, one cannot be weak. Strength respects strength. But there's a way to be strong. And the way to be strong shown here is out of purity. Strength doesn't come from madness. Strength comes from purity, from the teaching. And he says, of all the cows, I am Kamaduk. Now here, in Sanatana Dharma, the cow is a very, very sacred animal. And why is that? Because the cow takes minimum but gives maximum. What does the cow eat? Grass. That's it. But what does the cow give? The cow gives milk. The cow's urine is used for medicine. The cow dung is used in houses and even for fertilizer. And when the cow's body dies, that skin is used to make cloth. So that cow, all it does is it eats grass. The cows don't cause chaos. They're a very sattvic animal. But they take the minimum and they give maximum to the world. And that's why we respect cows and we don't eat cows. Because that cow gives us everything. So therefore we don't eat cows. And here it says, of all the cows, I have this wish-fulfilling cow, Kamaduk. Kamaduk here is representative of Kamadhenu. This is Vasishta Rishi's cow. Basically, he had this cow who had the ability to give him anything and everything. Now, this cow means Yajna spirit. It comes in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, Bhagavan says, let this Yajna spirit be your wish-fulfilling cow. Meaning, Yajna spirit means, let this spirit of selflessness be your wish-fulfilling cow. Because whenever all of us come together with the spirit of selflessness means that we're willing to give up our own personal likes and dislikes for a greater vision. We're willing to give up our own view, our opinion, our ego. We're willing to give up this sense of I-ness for the greater good. What happens if we keep focusing on I? We get illness. We get sick. But when we focus on we get wellness. We get better. So this cow is that wellness. If we're wondering why we're sick, why? Because I'm focusing on I. I'm ill, illness. If you want to get better, focus on we. Immediately we will become better. That's instant medicine for everybody. So this spirit of yajna is when we get rid of all of our selfishness and we come together to do something for the greater good. And when we come to do something for the greater good, what happens is all beautiful things happen. Anything can happen. They say anything can happen, right? Anything can happen when people work for a greater goal. When people push aside their individuality and egos, then anything can happen. Even the impossible can happen. Hmm? So that is called Kamaduk, when we really come together. Huh? I'm reminded of this really touching video. It's there on YouTube, but there's in Bharat once there was this it was traffic, there's traffic in one place in Bharat, and a huge tree fell. Well, a huge tree fell in the middle of the road, and it was causing traffic, right? Because our beloved Bharat is so beautiful. We have trees in the roads, we have animals in the roads, we have everything in the roads. And it's wonderful. It just works. So this huge tree fell on the road and it's causing so much traffic that the cars aren't moving. And so many people are just passing by and doing nothing, just walking past the tree. This little kid, he must have been 5, 6 years old. He's going to school. He has his backpack. He's trying to move the tree. It's such a little tiny boy, and the tree's so big. And he's trying to move the tree, and he's not giving up. So what happens to this boy? 2 more people come, 3 more people come, 4 more people come. Before you know it, people are getting out of their cars to help this little boy move the tree. And they move the tree. And now traffic can flow. There's no more traffic. Huh? This is called Yajna spirit. So we have to be like that little boy. That little boy is a Vibhooti. Hmm? Imagine just going there and saying, I'll try and move this tree. He did. He did with the help of everybody else. Yeah. Now we'll stop here today because then the 2 more left in this verse I want people to complete in time. We'll do that next week. In this time remaining, I'll just maybe summarize a few points from today. Yeah. So today we saw very beautifully that a Vibhooti of Bhagwan is the tree of Samsara because he wants us to look, examine, reflect on Samsara to be free of it, to want to be free of it. Of all the Devarishis, Bhagwan is Narada. He's always restoring life to whomever he meets. Of all the musicians, he is Chitraratha, that musician who's there to really just immerse themselves in music. Of all the sidhhas, he's Kapil Muni, the one who's perfected from birth itself. Of all the horses, he's Uchaishravas, that beautiful horse that comes out of the ocean of milk. And of all the elephants, he's Airavata. But remember, what he's trying to tell us in this churning of milky ocean is go past that, until the self alone remains. Of all the beings, he says, I'm the king, the one who has the power to really make change. Of all the weapons, I am Vajra, made out of purity for defending dharma, and that falls in the right hands. And of all the cows, I am Kamaduk, the one that is absolutely selfless, because only in selflessness can we prosper and make anything happen. Right? So today we will stop here, say the closing prayer. I do have few announcements and would like to listen to your Vibhooti, so please stay back. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.